Welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Humanities, SOH. Certificate in the Teaching of English as a Second Language, CTE, revised. Optional, CTE 105 Teaching English Secondary School. Block 1 The Role of the Learner and the Teacher. Unit 1 The Learner at the Secondary School Level, 1.0 Objectives. After studying this unit, you should be able to identify Piaget's 4 cognitive concepts in your classroom practice. Describe the features of Piaget's 4 stages of cognitive development. Discuss the shortcomings of Piaget's stage theory. Discuss the educational implications of Piaget's cognitive theory in classroom practices. Discuss Vygotsky's sociocultural perspective in learning. Identify the point of difference between Vygotsky's and Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Discuss the psychosocial crisis in human life based on Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. Explain how psychosocial development is related to the cognitive development of a child. Create classroom environment appropriate for the development of a healthy psychosocial individual. Discuss the educational implications of individual and group learning, and explain the significance of curriculum-based learning for the child. 1.1 Introduction. If you reflect on your life, you would find that over the years you have acquired mastery of different types of skills more or less in a continuous manner and improved in quality and quantity. This is in essence to the dynamics of learning. Learning is always on the move from rudimentary to higher and from simple to complex. This is true for children as well. It is an ongoing experience for them as they go through different processes of growth and development. In this unit, you are going to learn about the different developmental processes central to the dynamics of child learning. To this effect, we examine Piaget's cognitive theory of development and the 4 underlying processes of schema, assimilation, accommodation and equilibration. Also we discuss Piaget's 4 stages of cognitive development, the sensory-motor stage, the pre-operational stage, the concrete operations stage and the formal operations stage. We then discuss Lev Vygotsky's sociocultural perspective in learning. Erikson's theory of psychosocial development is included to describe the psychological and social development of the child. You know that in children some learning takes place at the individual level and some at group level. 1.2 The developmental processes. You know that development is a continuous process ensuing multiple changes. Development means growth, adaptation and change over lifetime. Physical growth happens to be the most visible indices in the beginning, but gradually children demonstrate the acquired language skills, social skills and cognitive abilities. In this section we will discuss various developmental processes. 1.2.1 Cognitive development. Jean Piaget, a prominent Swiss psychologist, has immensely contributed to the understanding of children's cognitive development. He observed children over a period of years, and noted that human behavior is an act of adaptation to the physical environment. Piaget's cognitive theory. Piaget used 4 processes of schema, assimilation, accommodation and equilibration to explain the how and why of cognitive development. Schema. Piaget used the term schema, plural is schemata, to refer to the mental structures which help individuals to adapt to and organize their environment. He believed that the mental structures construct meaning of the new experience and facilitate one's cognitive adaptation to the new experience or environment. For example, if a child cuts her finger with a sharp object, a cognitive structure will be created to adapt to this new experience. This schema would be used to adapt to the environment when the child is faced with a similar situation in future. At birth very few schemata exist, but as the child grows older and encounters more experiences, more schemata are formed to organize the experience. Piaget suggested that the organization of the new experience into schemata occurs through the processes of assimilation and accommodation. Assimilation. Assimilation is the process through which a child makes sense of experiences and perceptions by fitting them into the existing cognitive structures, schemata. A child who is familiar with cow on seeing a buffalo will adapt to the new experience by adding more information to the existing schemata of the 4-legged animal, cow. In the classroom, when the teachers introduce new concepts, they Try to facilitate the process of assimilation by linking these concepts with already existing knowledge, schemata, accommodation, when the process of assimilation is not working because the new experiences do not fit into any of the existing schemata, a new schema will have to be developed to adapt to the new experience. This process of creating a new schema is called accommodation. For example, if you are teaching about 4 seasons of the year to a class of students in Chennai, they may not have the schemata about winter season as they do not experience winter in Chennai. Therefore, the children will have to create a new schema to organize the new information. As the children go through varied experiences and encounter new stimuli, they develop the ability to create numerous schemata that are more complex and increasingly different from each other. Equilibration. The fourth process identified by Piaget is of equilibration. To Piaget, assimilation and accommodation are the two critical processes in cognitive development, and equilibration does the balancing act between them. Think what will happen if a child continued to assimilate new information. The child would have schema containing many bits of information that will be difficult to discriminate. Similarly, if a child continued to accommodate all new experiences and information would be seen as different and therefore no generalizability. Equilibration is the process of learning that occurs when the processes of assimilation and accommodation interact. For example, in a math class, after teaching the concept of area, the teacher shows a model of rectangle to the students and then changes it into the shape of a parallelogram. She then asks the students to identify which of the figures, rectangle or parallelogram, is larger in area. You will find that students may silently think about or discuss with each other and work out the answer. Piaget calls this a state of cognitive disequilibrium. When students come up with the answer that both the figures have similar dimensions and thus same area irrespective of the shape, they have equilibrated the concept of area. Piaget believed that when children are thrown into a state of cognitive disequilibrium, they will attempt to remove the discrepancy between what is perceived and what is understood by assimilating new experiences into existing schemata or by creating new schemata to incorporate the new experience. We have so far discussed Piaget's theory of cognitive development. He used 4 cognitive processes of schema, assimilation, accommodation, and equilibration to explain how an organism adapts to the environment. In the following section, you will learn about the stages of cognitive development. Piaget's stages of cognitive development. As discussed earlier, Piaget observed children from birth to adolescence and maintained meticulous records of their thinking patterns. During his longitudinal research, he found that children showed consistency in their thinking patterns within broad age ranges, characterized as stages. He observed that the stages were distinct and qualitatively different from each other. Based on his findings, he proposed 4 main stages of cognitive development. Table 1.1 Stages of cognitive development. Stage age 1 Sensorimotor 0 to 2, 2 Preoperational 2 to 7, 3 Concrete operations 7-11, 4 Formal operations 11 to 16. The sensorimotor stage 0 to 2 years. This is the earliest stage of cognitive development, in which the major cognitive activity of the infant is of interaction between her senses and the environment. At this stage, the infant has only a few motor abilities like sucking, grasping, etc. In the initial days, the child may appear helpless to solve any of her problems, but a few months later, with more development, he may start engaging herself in purposeful activity. For example, in the initial days, the child may have been unresponsive to a toy hanging above the crib, but a few months later may begin to kick and move with the purpose of moving the toy to enjoy the resulting visual scene created by the action. Gradually, the child learns to relate the sensory experiences to the external objects and events. Piaget called this developmental process as the infant's understanding of objects and events expands beyond the immediate. In a way, the infant begins to understand that objects continue to exist even after they disappeared from her view. You must have observed that while a 7 or 8-month-old infant can search for her toy that is out of sight, often for a brief period, a 5-month-old cannot do. With the development of object permanence, The infant starts using symbols to represent objects without experiencing them through the senses. By the end of the sensory-motor period, children have fully evolved object permanence in place and are able to imagine where a hidden object could be located even if he has not seen where the object was placed. At the end of this period, children develop simple problem-solving abilities. The pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years. Children's ability to form mental images to represent earlier experiences during the sensory-motor stage expands further in the pre-operational stage. The child cannot yet fully manipulate these mental images. Piaget thus termed this stage the pre-operational stage. Children make vast advances in language development. During this period, their vocabulary expands dramatically and they develop the ability to use grammatical structures although not concerned about language rules. At this stage, language development is mostly through imitation. Children who have adults around to interact show significant difference in their language development. With advanced language development and imagination, children engage in symbolic or pretend play during this period. In the pre-operational stage, the child's thinking is egocentric. Piaget said that children at this stage cannot see someone else's perspective. They think everyone views the world as they do. The child is central in everything as he does or thinks. To Piaget, child's egocentrism was due to the qualitative limitation in thinking during this period and not because of selfishness. By the end of this period, the child becomes less egocentric. Children in the pre-operational stage are unable to generalize from what is happening around them. Pre-operational characteristics decrease from age 5 to 7 and they begin to show concrete operational thought. The concrete operational stage, 7 to 11 years. This stage is characterized by the child's ability to think logically. They are now able to solve concrete problems. They don't have any difficulty in understanding that the liquid poured from a short fat glass into a tall glass can have the same amount. The child is able to distinguish reality from fantasy. The child at the concrete operational stage develops the understanding of reversibility. Their ability to reverse operations facilitates the ability to develop conservation skills. Children are now able to classify objects into categories other than shape and color as they did in the pre-operational stage. Another characteristic of this period is the child's ability to organize objects in ascending or descending order by size, volume, or area, known as seriation. Following table shows some of the major developmental milestones of the concrete operational stage. Table 1.2, Concrete operational milestones. Milestone age. Becomes proficient in the art of persuasion. Understands play on words. Comprehends a metaphor. Begins to estimate accurately how much time is needed, 8 or 9 years. To study. Classifies according to categories and subcategories. Successfully plays board games that require turn-taking. Source: Parsons, R. D. 2001. Page 47. The formal operational stage, 11 to 16 years. In the fourth stage of cognitive development, formal operations, the child is able to employ logical thoughts to solve abstract problems. This stage is characterized by the increased ability in reasoning. The formal operational child is able to formulate hypotheses and test them to solve a problem. When presented with a problem, the formal operational child will think of a combination of possibilities. Unlike the concrete operational child, during this period the child develops the ability to think about what he knows. They are able to retrieve information, use retrieved knowledge in combinations in new situations, exercise control over thought processes and monitor the thoughts. They also develop the ability to understand the thoughts of others. Flavel, 1985, termed it as metacognition. As adolescents develop understanding of the thoughts of others, they realize that others' point of view may differ from theirs. They now realize that reality is not always objective and there is subjective reality too. With the advent of meta-thoughts, adolescents develop the ability to place their thoughts in perspective in relation to the thoughts of others. This is the learner at the secondary level. Scholars like Arlene, 1986, have explored the possibility of a fifth stage of cognitive development. Piaget's description of formal operational stage is limited to problem solving. Arlene suggested a stage beyond formal operational, characterized by the ability to discover new problems, new solutions and new knowledge. Piagetian theory does not address the cognitive development of exceptionally talented individuals. Sternberg, 1985. Vygotsky's theory of cognitive development process. Piaget described cognitive development through different stages based on the internal development of the child. In fact, one of the criticisms of Piaget's theory is that he overlooked the importance of sociocultural factors in cognitive development. Vygotsky provided a sociocultural perspective to cognitive development. He attempted to establish the relationship between the child's development and the sociocultural context in which the child was situated. His theory of child development focused on the relationship between the line of natural development, which is closely bound up with the processes of general organic growth and the maturation of the child, and the line of cultural improvement of the psychological functions, the working out of new methods of reasoning, the mastering of the cultural methods of behavior. Vygotsky, 1994, p.57. While Piaget described child's cognitive development in stages, Vygotsky centered his theory of child development on times of crisis in a child's life, which he termed critical periods. He identified the following developmental junctures of rapid, profound transformation in mental and social functioning of the child. When the child begins to walk, when the child begins to talk, when the child starts school, when the child begins to use conceptual thinking, when the child gains self-awareness during adolescence. He examined the critical periods from the point of view of children's meaning-making processes and the development of their social relations. He believed that the changes that happen during the critical periods are so profound that they often lead to crises for the child. The critical times characterized by abrupt and major shifts and displacements, changes, and discontinuities in the child's personality are concentrated in a relatively short time, in which period the child changes completely in the basic traits of his personality. Vygotsky, 1998, page 191. The onset, duration and impact of critical periods may vary in different children, but all children are affected by them. During each critical period, new mental structures like language, verbal thinking and conceptual thinking are formed that result in the transition from one age level to the other and determine the character of the next level of development. These mental formations change in the transition from one stage to another, and the whole structure of the age is reconstructed. Each age has a unique and singular structure specific to it. 1998, p.197. The new structures formed during the critical periods basically determine the consciousness of the child, his relation to the environment, his internal and external life, the whole course of his development during the given period. 1998. p.190. The new mental formations propel the reconstruction of the whole personality on a new base. 1998, p.197. A core aspect of Vygotsky's theoretical framework is his analysis of meaning and the ways it develops in human social interaction. Vygotsky, 1997, said, "Meaning is not the sum of all the psychological operations which stand behind the word. Meaning is something more specific. It is the internal structure of the sign operation. It is what is lying between the thought and the word. Meaning is not equal to the word, nor equal to the thought. This disparity is revealed by the fact that their lines of development do not coincide." Page 133. He studied infants. To analyze meaning-making, children develop a new formation, autonomous speech, near the end of their first year. He believed that the new formation of autonomous speech is the beginning of a new relationship between speech and thinking, which is central to the understanding of all other changes. Vygotsky sought unity of speech and thinking to describe his approach to verbal thinking. He emphasized, since all meaning of a word is a generalization, it is a product of the intellectual activity of the child. The meaning of the word is a unity of speech and thinking that cannot be broken down further. 1998, p.294. When children begin to make meaning through social interaction, it is explanatory of the sociocultural situations of development. The interdependence of the individual's internal processes and the external social processes in learning and development is the main focus of Vygotsky's theoretical framework. Child's social situations of development influence qualitatively their perception, experience, appropriation, internal understanding and memory of interaction in and with their environment. Vygotsky considered this interdependence as a process that is characterized by a unity of material and mental aspects, a unity of the social and the personal. 1998, p.190. Hay emphasized the relation between the social and the personal, a completely original, exclusive, single, and unique relation, specific to the given age, between the child and reality, mainly the social reality that surrounds him. We call this relation the social situation of development at the given age. 1998. p.198. The meaning constructing activity of the child is situated in the social processes and not isolated from it. Vygotsky argued that the child is a part of the social situation, and the relation of the child to the environment and the environment to the child occurs through the experience and activity of the child himself. The forces of the environment acquire a controlling significance because the child experiences them. Vygotsky, 1998, p.294. Each time children reconstruct their conscious personality specific to the given age, Vygotsky argued, they do so within their social existence, meaning they are influenced by the social situation of development. The reconstruction process brings in a new relation between the child's consciousness and her social existence. The child, having changed the structure of his personality, is already a different child whose social existence cannot but differ in a substantial way from the existence of the child of an earlier age. 1998. p.199. This means the meaning-making process of the child goes through considerable changes when he passes through the critical periods. The essence of every crisis is a reconstruction of the internal experience, a reconstruction that is rooted in the change of the basic factor that determines the relation of the child to the environment, specifically, in the change in needs and motives that control the behavior of the child. 1998, p.296. It is important for teachers and parents to understand that the child's change in needs and motives reconstructs the internal experiences. When internal experiences are altered, the child's relationship to the social environment also changes. The effect of the environment on the child at various ages, 1, 3, 7 or 12, is completely different from the other. Vygotsky used a Russian term perezhivny to explain how children make meaning of their social existence. This term appeared in his article The Problem of the Environment, L 994. The translators of this article explained perezhivny. The Russian term perezhivny serves to express the idea that one and the same objective situation may be interpreted, perceived, experienced or lived through by different children in different ways. Vygotsky, 1994, p.354. Vygotsky believed that every experience of the child, since birth, is socially mediated. This social mediation shapes the perception, memory, appropriation, emotional experiences and internalization of the child. What characterizes the meaning-making process through social interaction is not the situation in itself, taken in its absolute indicators, but how the child experiences the situation. 1993, p.294. Another contribution of Vygotsky to the theory of child development is his concept of the zone of proximal development. As discussed above, children passing through various critical periods reconstruct their conscious personality within their social existence. Each critical period causes new mental formations. The meaning-making process of the child changes from the earlier period. Vygotsky believed that children were capable of solving problems independently at given ages. He termed this level of ability as the zone of actual development. It is important that children are given opportunity to learn so that they reach the level of zone of proximal development. The support given to a child in learning during the early stages is crucial for the cognitive development. As they grow older, children develop capabilities to guide their learning process and thus need less support. Language development begins in children in the late period of sensory-motor stage. Vygotsky viewed language as an important mediator between learning and development. There are different theories that explain how language is acquired. Are humans genetically programmed to learn languages? Nativist theorists like Noam Chomsky and Eric Lenneberg argue that children have innate, language-specific abilities that facilitate and constrain language learning. We are familiar with children imitating adults in various aspects of life. Social learning theorists suggest that language learning happens through observation and imitation. Linguists may differ in their views regarding how children acquire language but do not dispute the fact that language plays an important role in development. While learning does not always happen in school or in other formal setup, because one can learn by observation, imitation, experimentation, etc., it is true that language ability promotes learning. Children are able to solve problems independently, but if they have to reach the zone of proximal development, they need to understand the spoken language and the vocabulary. For later development, without assistance, children would also need to understand the written language. School as an agency of learning provides organized learning experiences. Language plays a key role in the child's development in organized areas of knowledge. 1.2.2 Psychosocial development. You are aware of the crucial role of sociocultural environment of an individual in her psychological development. In this section, we will discuss Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. His theory describes personality development in 8 stages. He also called these 8 stages as critical periods of life. Each stage is characterized by a psychological crisis. As the individual attempts to resolve these crises, a healthy personality evolves. Each time a crisis is resolved, it adds a new dimension to the personality of the individual. The stages are in sequence, and if a crisis remains unresolved in one particular stage, it becomes difficult to solve a similar crisis at a later stage. Personality development depends on the person's ability to interact with the environment and resolve the crisis. Each time the crisis is resolved or unresolved, leaves a lasting impact on the person's self-concept. Let us now discuss the different stages. Stage 1. Trust versus mistrust. Birth 2 years. The physical and emotional care and warmth given to a newborn baby develops in him, her sense of trust or mistrust. If the infant experiences a predictable care behavior as, he develops a sense of trust towards the caregiver and the immediate surroundings. If the care behavior is not predictable and dependable, the infant develops a sense of mistrust. Stage 2. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. 2 to 3 years. During this period, the child does not depend on the caregiver for physical movement. The child is able to crawl, sit, walk and run and experiences personal autonomy. The child likes to explore the surrounding by himself, herself. Yet complete freedom is not allowed as it may be unsafe for the child. Therefore, both freedom and restraint are in play during this period. The feeling of independence is the positive aspect of this stage, but there can be negative emotional development too. For example, the child likes to exercise her independence by exploring the house, drawing out objects and throwing them away. If the child is restrained or punished harshly, he may go through experiences of personal shame. On the other hand, if the caregiver overindulges the child, it may result in a self-indulgent personality. There is a tussle between the child's sense of autonomy and sense of self-control at this stage. Therefore, caregivers and parents need to organize and structure the environment of the child for developing a sense of autonomy and self-control. Stage 3. Initiative versus guilt. 3 to 6 years. This period is marked by the child's increased desire to explore new environment and investigate new challenges. Erikson called this the development of a sense of initiative. During this period, children get into tasks of which parents do not approve. They become very inquisitive about their surroundings and ask many questions. They would want to help you with your work. Erikson believed that if the child is discouraged from taking up the initiative, the child would develop a sense of guilt about her tendency to explore and investigate. Children in this age group are expected to take up the new challenges like going to school, learning to read and write and such other activities. Stage 4, industry versus inferiority, 6 to 12 years. Erikson believed, during this period, children attempted to achieve mastery in whatever they do. He termed this a sense of competence or industry. As elementary students, children learn to read, write and compute. They now start using these skills outside school activities, like reading a comic book. They now spend more time with others away from home. They get into many activities like gymnastics, dancing, sports, etc. In this stage of development, children want to succeed in what they do. Therefore, the term industry. If children are not encouraged to develop a sense of industry during this stage, Erikson believed that they would instead develop a sense of inferiority and feel about themselves as failures in whatever they do. It is important that children get appreciation and recognition for what they do from parents and teachers. In fact, recent research has shown that peer group rejection is carried over from elementary to high school and affect academic achievement and lead to adjustment problems in later life. Stage 5, identity versus role confusion, 13 to 18 years. This is the period of adolescence. In search of identity, they want to find answer to the question, who am I? At the cognitive level, adolescents develop a different way of understanding and thinking. Physically, they go through several changes. They are confused about their identity and role in the society. They experiment with new ideas and relationships, and they are not sure about their attitudes, beliefs and values. Erikson thought that adolescents are in psychosocial moratorium, a period of delay that is granted to someone who is not ready to meet obligations. As adolescents experiment with different identities, they may fail or face difficulties. Adolescents who are surrounded by caring adults get protection during such emotional crises. Since they search for identity, they often imitate people whom they admire. They would like to dress and behave like their hero, heroine. Having not sorted out who he is, the adolescent finds it difficult to make a career choice. Erikson argued that those who leave adolescence with these issues sorted out develop a sense of identity. James Marcia's 1980 identity status theory described the 4 primary ways in which adolescents resolve the crisis of identity. Identity diffusion, a situation in which the adolescent has not made any firm commitments to any ideology, occupation or interpersonal relationship and is not currently thinking about such commitments. Adolescents in the status of identity diffusion tend to repress the issue of resolving their identity because they remained in a state of denial that they had to make such an important decision. In this status, some adolescents develop a negative identity that is opposite to the values and culture they were brought up with. There is also a chance that adolescents with negative identity may enter into antisocial activities and crime. Identity foreclosure. In this status, the adolescent attempts to resolve the identity crisis by accepting the role authority figures and friends choose for him, her. Here, the teen is trying to avoid autonomous choice. The best example of this status is when adolescents choose the profession of their parents without examining the consequences of their choice. Identity moratorium. This status is when the adolescent considers alternative choices and experiences different roles, but final decisions are not made. Some adolescents use the moratorium status as an excuse to avoid resolving the identity crisis, while others use it in a healthy way to examine options. Identity achievement. In this status, after thoughtfully considering different options, the adolescent develops a sense of commitment to life choices. Achieving this status is not easy for the teen, as Marcia found that it contained elements of personal crisis, confrontation and thoughtful decision-making. Erikson's last 3 psychosocial stages are beyond the usual school-going age group. In the 6th stage, intimacy versus isolation, the major crisis is the development of a true and intimate relationship. Erikson thought that those who failed to experience this intimacy will develop a sense of isolation and tend to avoid relationships and make commitments. In stage 7, generativity versus stagnation, individuals in middle age develop a sense of generativity, which he defined as creativity or productivity. Otherwise, they experience stagnation. In The last stage of psychosocial development, integrity versus despair. Those who have adapted to the ups and downs of life develop a sense of satisfaction and acceptance. Healthy resolutions in early stages of crisis develop a sense of integrity, and unhealthy resolutions lead to despair. In the above discussion, we have examined cognitive development, moral development, and psychosocial development, the developmental processes that determine learning. 1.3 Let us some UP children pass through different developmental processes in life. We have discussed here these developmental processes with a focus on learning. Piaget argued that humans organize their environment to adapt to that environment. Hay explained adaptation having four processes: schema, accommodation, assimilation, and equilibration. Piaget described cognitive development of children in four stages. In the fourth stage of formal operational stage with which we are concerned, children are able to use logical thought to solve abstract problems. They are able to think of solving a problem in different ways. They also develop the ability to understand the thoughts of others. Vygotsky's view of cognitive development offered a sociocultural perspective. His theory of child development is centered around the critical periods in a child's life. He identified 5 critical periods in a child's life. Vygotsky focused on children's meaning-making processes and the development of their social relations, the interdependence of the individual's internal processes and the external social processes in learning and development is the main focus of Vygotsky's theoretical framework. Vygotsky considered every experience of the child as socially mediated. Another important concept of his cognitive theory is the zone of proximal development, which indicates a child's ability to solve problems with help beyond his/her actual development. We also talked about Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. He has described psychosocial development in 8 stages: trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame, initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority, identity versus role confusion, intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus stagnation, and integrity versus despair. The first 5 stages are of particular interest to classroom teachers. We have also discussed Marcia's identity status theory that described the 4 primary ways in which adolescents resolved the crisis of identity. School is another agency of learning, as they take children through organized and structured learning in different areas of knowledge. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.